Have you been thinking about adding another reoccurring revenue stream to your business? Maybe your second box will actually grow faster than your first one. Betsy is back on the podcast after 2 years of our initial interview, giving us an update on her growth. You're going to be excited and inspired by this interview. Come join us.
Welcome to the Launch Your Box podcast, with weekly tips, tricks, and strategies to start, launch, and grow your subscription box. Now, here's your host, Sarah Williams.
Welcome back to the Launch Your Box podcast. Today I have a returning guest back on the podcast. She hasn't been back for 2.5 years. And what I love is I love bringing guests back so that you guys realize this is a journey. This has been a journey for Betsy, and I've loved following her on her journey. But let me just kind of catch you up. So she was back on episode 93. This is Betsy Goodman of Be Goods Lettering. And we were talking about her building this wildly successful Instagram following back in October of 2022. She had launched her lettering box and she was about 118 subscribers back then. And so a lot has changed in the 2.5 years. So Betsy is back. Betsy, I'm so glad you're back. Why don't you start just by telling everybody a little bit about your business, what you do, and what your subscriptions are?
Yeah, so I'm Betsy Goodman. I'm so excited to be here and be back. So I have a wax seal shop. And so I have an online shop and then I have subscription boxes as well. So I've got the lettering box, which you mentioned, that's lettering supplies and wax seal supplies and a seasonal lettering project. And then I have what's called the Wax Seal Club, which you get a stamp and waxes every other month. And then I also last fall launched a membership. It's a digital membership called the Script and Seal Society, where we do lettering and wax seal projects every month.
Okay, so someone that's maybe not in the lettering stationery world, explain to everybody listening what a wax seal is.
So you'll probably the most often way people think of it is like on a letter. So often you'll see it on wedding invitations these days, but it's the wax that's pressed into an envelope and creates a wax seal. So it's most often used on envelopes, but I like to put it on all types of different crafts and creative like stationery paper items.
When you listen to this episode, I want you to just think about how a wax seal has created this business. Okay, lettering and wax seals, and that's it. And that's the value of niching down. It's a very specific niche, and Betsy has found her way, and I'm really excited about it. Betsy, let's start from the beginning. Okay, let's start when you started lettering.
So I started lettering in 2017 when after my first son was born, and it was when I had postpartum depression and anxiety with both my kids. So anyway, I started lettering and it was just for fun, and it was a really fun creative outlet, and I slowly just started doing it more and more. And I eventually was like, I'm going to take a class and learn more about this. So I did that. And eventually I started teaching as well. So I started teaching local workshops. I created a brush lettering course. So I was teaching online. And it was after that course, and I was like reflecting on my lettering journey. I enjoyed lettering because I would make stuff. So when I first started, I would like letter a quote and I'd hang it on my wall, or I'd go to a birthday party. So I would letter on the gift. And it was like, lettering while making something was what was fun, not just lettering by itself. And I was like, this is so interesting. All the workshops I've been to, all you do is just practice. You don't ever make a fun thing. And so I was like, I wonder if I could, and I don't know why I thought to put it in a box, but I was like, I'm going to try making 5 of these lettering boxes where they make some Valentines and it has lettering workbook, lettering supplies, and see if anyone buys it. And so it took like 3 weeks, and I sold the 5, and 2 of them were to my cousins. And the other 3 were
I
other
love that.
people.
Actually, I really love that.
And so that started it. And then at that same time, I was also starting to make wax seals. And so then I was like, I'm going to try another one in the spring, just a one-time box, and I'm going to put wax seals in it and lettering. And that one I sold 17 in days. And I was like, this is interesting. The combination of lettering and wax seals, people like it. And so then that's when I decided I found your podcast, and then I listened to that, and that helped me launch the box in the fall.
So you launched the lettering box in the fall of 21.
Yep.
And when I interviewed you about a year later, you had 118 subscribers,
Yep.
right? And so now the lettering box is going strong. How many subscribers do you have in the lettering box now?
There's 600 now.
600 subscribers. Okay, so
Mhm.
we're doing the lettering box. Then you decide, you start that in 2021. A year and a half later, you decide, okay, I'm going to give this wax seal thing a go, right? And you're going to full on launch a subscription box with the wax seal. Talk to me about the idea to start another box on top of the one that you had a lot of subscribers for while you're still working full time. Let's just talk about that whole scenario before we talk about what happened next.
Yeah. Well, you had talked about doing like a one item of the month, and you have like your t-shirt club or t-shirt subscription. And I was like, I think I could do that with a wax seal. It could be one item. And it started when I pulled and sent emails out. I was asking, I just want to do one stamp and that's it. And everyone was like, well, we want wax too. We don't just want a stamp. So that's why it's stamp and wax. And then I also pulled them about timing, like, how often do you want to get this box? And people were saying every other month. So that's kind of just what I went with. And so that one launched in February of 2023, so 2 years ago, and it was 50 subscribers on the first launch. So that was a bigger launch for me than my
Because you
lettering
had
box.
all this knowledge, right? You've gained all this knowledge from launching the lettering club. So the lettering box is monthly, right?
The lettering box is 4 times a year. It's quarterly.
Quarterly. So
Mhm.
now they're telling you, okay, I want this more often. So you do the bi-monthly. You launch, you get 50 subscribers right out of the gate. And
Mhm.
then talk to me about what happened with that subscription.
That one grew a lot quicker, and it wasn't. I think part of it is, in that last podcast we talked about, my Instagram had also kind of blown up at this time, all based around wax seal videos. So I had this huge audience of 300,000 people who were interested in wax seals now that I could sell to. So that was something that was new that I didn't have before. So I kind of just grew by 100, 150, 200, just kind of slowly grew. So within a year, it had grown to 500 subscribers in a year. And now we're going on to year 2 and we're at 1,200 subscribers. So this box is growing a lot faster, and it's a simpler box, and I kind of like it a little better
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
easier, right?
easy. Yeah, it's easy to design the stamp and select the waxes and put it together. It's just a little bit easier of a box.
And why do you think it has grown faster than the other one? Do you think it is because you do more wax seal videos, or what do you think it is? It's more niche down?
I think it's partly that I showcase wax seal videos more, but I think the other thing with lettering is something that takes time to learn. So you can get the box and you can practice, but you really have to practice consistently over quite a bit of time to become really good at it. Where wax seals, it's like you make 3 and then you're a pro. They're so easy. Anyone who likes crafting or like creating can do it, and it's not hard. So I think that's the other thing, is like anyone can pick this up really easily.
So let's talk about, we've got 2 thriving subscriptions now at this point. You're still working full time, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about managing life and business and work and all the things. Let's talk about that a little bit. What were you
Yeah.
going through?
Well, it was just a lot of nighttime working and kind of just like any spare moment. So it's like lunch breaks. I have 10 minutes here, I have 15 minutes here, and a lot of work I would do on my phone because I always had my phone with me so I could do things. And so it was kind of just like any little bit of time was used for this. And I really like it. Like, I love it and it's fun. So it wasn't like, oh, now I have to do more work. It's like, yes, I get to work on my boxes and work on that. And so it was something I liked to do, and any free time I would spend on it. And so I've since quit my job, but now I'm kind of on the other end where I'm so used to just working on it constantly, where I'm like, I can stop and I don't have to work on this the whole weekend because this is my job now. And so I'm trying to like rein it back in because it was just all any and all time I had, I would work on this.
And so, are you fulfilling your own boxes, or are they at a fulfillment center?
I'm fulfilling them, and then I have a group of ladies who come for packing days, so I usually get, like, 6 to 8 ladies who come, who help me pack them all and get them shipped.
And do you have a warehouse? You're not doing this at home, are you?
I am doing this at home in
Oh
my
my
basement. So, that's another thing that's been a little bit crazy is it's slowly just we have a good sized basement and it's one huge room. There's no little rooms in there, but it's slowly just taking over more and more space. And so that's on my list for this year is to look for a space because I feel like I don't want to order too much and not that I don't want to dream big, but I don't want to go too big because I'm like, where am I going to put all that
Right,
stuff?
and the next
Yeah.
box of stuff is gonna show up, and then you're bursting at the seams, and you're stressed out, and you're actually working you're, like, overworking because you're having to move stuff around to get stuff in, and then
Yes.
it's not productive. I've been there, definitely. I'm just picturing you walking 1,200 boxes up the stairs every time you pack a box.
Yeah, well, I mean, we use the big post office bags, so you can get quite a few in a bag, and my boxes are quite small. They're
Okay,
only 4
that
by
makes me
6
feel
by
better. I was
2.
like, "Oh goodness, this is
Yeah,
backbreaking."
yeah, the Wax Seal Club, it's a really small box, so that one's not as stressful, and wax seals are a small item, so it's not like a big water bottle or a big bag, they're all really tiny things that are going in the box.
So before we talk about the third thing that we're doing, I want to give people some kind of nuggets of like where you were 118 subscribers ago to now 1,800 subscribers. Like, talk to me about maybe some of the challenges that you have faced in that time period and how you overcome that. Talk to me about how you grew. Like, what do you think were the main things that helped you grew in that time period? Let's talk about your challenges first.
Okay. I think one of the challenges that comes to mind is just, like, actually fulfilling the boxes. At first, I could do it myself.
Mhm.
And I got to a point where it was like, I tried to do it all in one day and I was like, "Oh, this is too I can't do this." And so that was a thing where I had to be okay asking and finding help and then getting people who could be consistent where I can ask them anytime I'm packing. I just send them a text and they're like, "Yep, we'll be there." And then set up these packing days. So that was kind of a big challenge was like going from the transition from doing everything myself to like allowing other people into the mix to help get things done.
And what do you think is the biggest, because I hear this a lot. What do you think is the hardest part about that?
I think for me it's like letting go of the control because it's like, well, I can do it. I can do it just right, exactly how I want. And it's like, well, actually everyone if I show it to them, they can do it that way too.
Right.
So, but I think that was it for me is I didn't want to give up the control. I just wanted to do everything myself.
I think I think that was a lot like me too. Like, I thought nobody's gonna do it the way I do it. Nobody's gonna love it the way I love it. What if they do it wrong? Okay, what if they pack it with one item turned a different way? Like, who cares? Nobody's gonna know. But in my mind, it was like the biggest deal. And so it was just, I'd rather do it myself. So I know it's done perfect. I know it's done right. But what happens is as we grow and that 50 boxes turns into 500 boxes, we're so exhausted, we don't even know if we're doing it right at some point,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so packing was a challenge. What do you think else has been a challenge growing from 100 to 800 or 1,800 subscribers?
Another big thing is, and it's still a challenge for me, is getting product in time. Like when I'm ordering product and make sure that it's here in time to actually do a good launch and have everything. So I feel like a lot of an account for shipping delays. So I feel like my last few boxes, it's been like every day I'm calling UPS, where's my stuff? Is it coming? Is it through customs? And it's like so stressful and it's like on me because I didn't order it soon enough. And
So
but it
planning.
yeah, but it's so hard because it's like it's Q4 and it's all the stuff that you're doing all these other things and it's like, but I got to order, but I have this priority. And so that's been a really big struggle for me that it's a goal for this year to get better at that and kind of get ahead of it.
Yeah.
But I'm still kind of struggling with that. And I think part of it is like the quantity and just like wanting to make each box better than the last. And so there's just like this pressure that it has to be awesome. And so sometimes that's even overwhelming of like Oh, I don't wanna work on my next box because it's already sounds overwhelming to come up with the next greatest idea that everyone's gonna love.
Right. I love having my content planning days. And when I think about content, I think about like social media and training content and things like that, but I also think about the product content. So for my product-based business, the product content is sitting down with 2 hours uninterrupted, working on the curation, but also following up on what's coming because at any given point, I've got 4 or 5 months that are out being they're in any stage of manufacturing and shipping, right? So when I have my content days, or I just block 2 hours once a month, that's all I do, 2 hours once a month. And I sit down and I work through everything that's not here yet. Okay. Where is February? It's all here. Check. Where is March? It's in production. Check. Where is April? Have we finalized the sample? Where have we I'm still working on May or June. Okay, let me sit down for the next hour and a half now that I've followed up on everything and let me work on May and June. And so if I do that every single month, I'm like this, I'm rolling 6 months ahead of time. And sometimes if I'm feeling real creative that day, I'm actually getting further. And so I would work that into your calendar, just a time block. I do it on a Monday afternoon, once a month. It's on my calendar. I know from 1 to 3 on Monday, I'm just working on box stuff. And that is like just curation. It's just following up with the processes and I'm going through Asana and checking, okay, I've got 4 items in this box. I got 6 items in this box and I'm just checking all of them off. And every month you'll see my notes in Asana of where it's at. It's on the water, it's in customs, it's in manufacturing. I just approved a sample or whatever the case may be so that I have this kind of rolling documentation because I can't remember what I did a month ago. I can't remember where we're at in the process. There's too many products and there's too many legs of the process for me to remember where everything is all the time. So that might help you with that. We've got 1,800 subscribers and now we're going to do something else too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me where this thought process came and what did we do next?
I started a membership, a digital membership, and this was inspired by one of your podcast episodes where you invited 4 ladies who had reached $1 million in revenue, and I can't remember when that came out, but that episode, I've listened to it so many times, and you pointed out in the episode, but, like, all of those people have digital offerings as well, and so I'm like, "Okay, well, I need a digital thing because I wanna make $1 million in revenue.
I
I
want to
want
hit
my
a
business
million.
to grow." Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it sparked, and I didn't know exactly what it would be, but that was kind of the spark of, like, I wanna do something digital, but I need to figure out what it was. But it was just very natural to continue with lettering and wax sills because that's what I already do and what people know me for. And so what the membership is it's basically 3 lives a month with me where we do projects that are unique. They're not in my boxes, they're not on my YouTube, they're unique to this group of people. So we do a live lettering project, a live wax seal project, and then we do a live make along where we use the monthly printable that incorporates lettering and wax seals in some way. So that one started in September, last
Just recently.
September. Yeah,
Okay.
and so it's at 200 subscribers right now, and that's also monthly. So the other thing about it too was prior to September, I hadn't quit my job, but I wanted monthly reoccurring revenue before I did quit my job. So that was part of it was I was like, I wanted monthly income so that I would feel comfortable giving up my monthly income from my work.
Right, because you had the quarterly box, which was coming in like every 3 months, right? Then you had the bi-monthly box, which kind of offset one of those months too. But there was
Mhm.
a month that you had nothing coming in. Every
Right.
3 months, there was a month with no income. So you thought, okay, if I'm going to quit my job, I need to make sure that I have money coming in every single month. So we went from quarterly to bi-monthly to
Yeah.
now monthly, and it all serves a different purpose, right? The
Mhm.
fact that you launched this, what, 5 months ago, 4 months ago, and you have 200 subscribers is incredible. It just shows you that you're feeling a need that people really want, and it's a hobby, right? It's a fun
Mhm.
thing. It's something for somebody to really dig deep into, but it's not anything that anybody needs, and I love that about this. Talk to me about launching the membership.
I kind of based it off of how you've launched and done your workshop weeks. So it was last September. So I took a week off from work, my regular job, so that I could do this launch. And so I went live every day for 5 days with a different thing. So the first day we did wax seals, the second day was lettering, the third day was gift wrapping with wax seals and lettering, and the fourth day was hot glue seals. And then the fifth day was a bonus day where we talked about packaging and selling and gifting your wax seals. So I just had one session every day. I made a private Facebook group for it. And then I didn't have boxes available because I had already sent those out. So the only thing I could offer was the membership. But everyone was like, wait, you have boxes too? Like you have stuff to buy? And I was like, yeah. So
So it served more than one purpose, right? So it was
yeah.
serving the purpose to grow the membership, but now they want the membership and one of your boxes too, right?
Mhm.
Because you're
Yeah.
the membership is a combination of both lettering and wax seals, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's a
Yeah.
combo of both.
This is genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
then I just did a launch though the beginning of this month. But this time I had my boxes available and the membership available with workshop week. So I did the workshop week. And so then it was perfect because there were some people that bought everything, but everyone could kind of choose the things that they wanted. And I sold a lot in all three.
Yeah, because I'm seeing in your notes that you added 300 subscribers to the Wax Seal Club from this last launch early January, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the biggest jump I've ever had when I
So
didn't think I would make it. Like I was like, I'm going to have so much leftover product. It was a very scary number, but it was like, wow, I can't
so you
believe.
planned for 1,200 and you
Yeah, I
made it
planned. Yeah.
and you were scared.
Yeah, I'm gonna have like 200 of these stamps left over. The waxes, you can just keep selling them. And I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna try it.
So tell me what you think was the biggest needle mover in your last launch. Like, what do you think helped convert the most people to either box or membership?
I think a lot of it has to do because in the workshop week I would go live, and I think a lot of it had to do with spending time with me and interacting with me. Where like I go live on Instagram not as consistently as I should. But like, and I don't ever show my face really on my videos. Like, so it's like a way for people to get to know me and also just gauge, like, yeah, I like this. And I like they like the way I teach and they like the products. So then it was just an easy way for them to see it, to see if they would like the boxes and the membership.
I feel like I might have said this a time or two for you, Betsy.
No, I feel like you have. You've said the same thing that it's like about people being able to like
Connect with you.
yeah, connect and, like, learn
Yeah.
from you, and if they like it, then they're like, "Yeah, of course I'm gonna buy from you."
Right. Because we have to understand that we're not for everybody. Our personalities are not for everybody. The way we teach or train is not for everybody. So when you get everybody in a group like this and you show up live every day, you really give somebody the opportunity to say, yes, she's for me. I love the way she teaches. I love her personality. I love what she does. Or no, that's really not my style. And I've been in that situation before where I took a workshop and I was like, whoa, this dude is too much. And this is not the way I learn. I felt like he was yelling at me the whole time. And so it wasn't my style, but it could have totally been somebody else's style that needed someone to yell at them on camera the whole time. So it gives an opportunity for people to know, like, and trust us. And that's something that I just say over and over and over again. And I know it's hard to go live. I know there's a lot of self doubt. I know that we don't want to, there's a lot of self confidence issues, especially for women. Like I know, and especially if we've never like been on camera much or really talked publicly much, like it is a hard, scary thing for a lot of us. But at the end of the day, we're just us. We're not putting on a facade of that we're anything different. We're just talking in our normal everyday language. We're doing the thing that we love. And either people are for us and they're not for us. And we have to be okay with that.
Yeah, totally. I think the other thing that has helped me with going live too is just, like, doing it over and over again. So, as part of the membership, I go live 3 times a month. And so I'm like, now it's, like, not even for workshop week, I didn't have to practice. I was just like, "Okay, I got my supplies, hit live, and I'm ready to go." Where before it was like, I have to run through everything multiple times, and it was so stressful. And so it's like that the consistency and the practice makes a big difference in helping your confidence.
I feel like we're gonna need to like pull that quote out because I everybody needs to understand that. It's hard the first several times you do it. It's not easy. It does feel very heavy and hard, but the more you do it, the more it's just easier and relaxed you get, and you're more like yourself the more you do it. And that's what we want people to see anyway. We don't want people to see the perfectly polished Sarah all the time, or the, straight-laced Betsy that, never messes up. Like, I'm sure you've poured wax in weird shapes before and it didn't make a circle like you were hoping for, right? Like, we need them to see that we're human too. And so that's what we really want to come across. We don't want it to be stuffy and professional. We want it to just be us. Like, you're hanging out with your friend and you're making something really cute. And that's what we have to realize. We have to let go of all these preconceived notions of what we have to be when we show up on video, and just be ourselves, right? So let's talk about your advice. Maybe I have a subscription box right now. It's going well, and I'm really thinking about dipping my toe into another subscription box, or I'm thinking about dipping my toe into a membership. What kind of advice would you give our listeners if they're ready to try something different or new, or something that's coordinating with their subscription box?
I think I would say to try to think about your customer and like what else could help them with what they're doing. So it's easy to think about with like a box where you're teaching a craft or something, but it's like, what do they need next? Or what's next on the list of things you could provide that they don't already have access to? And so I think that's when, I guess, when brainstorming the idea of what it could be, I'd be thinking about that. Like, how else can you meet the customer's need in a different way?
I think what's interesting, because we both saw this in our subscriptions. We started with one subscription, and that would be our signature subscription. Yours is the lettering box, mine is the monogram box. But when we start to listen to our subscribers, it really can open up a whole nother revenue stream. For you, it was the wax sales. You were listening to them. You launched the one-time box. It sold way better than the lettering box, right? And so you're like, maybe this is a thing. That's what they're asking for. Same thing happened with me with the t-shirts. When I asked them what they wanted more of in their boxes, they're like, we want more graphic tees. And so that's where the t-shirt club came. And that one quickly, I had way more subscribers in that one. I almost double the subscribers I had in the t-shirt club than I did the box. And just like you said, it was so much easier. Do you know how much easier it is not to have to monogram everything individually, custom every single box? It's amazing. And yet, I would never have thought of doing something like that had I not listened to my subscriber and really fulfilled the need that they were wanting from me. So, advice from us would be, if you have a subscription box and you've got your subscribers asking for something more, something different, lean in and listen to them. Do a survey, poll them, ask some questions. Not one person, don't do it for one person. But when you get a big pool of people saying, hey, we want to do this, we want more of this, can you provide this for us? That might be an opportunity to do something more, do another revenue stream for you that can serve the same audience. And that's what Betsy and I both did. And we saw a lot of success with adding a second subscription in. And then, Betsy, tell me what's the goals for you for 2025? I mean, I feel like I'm going to have you back in 2027. We'll have to repeat this. So it's been 2.5 years. You have grown tremendously in 2.5 years. You've quit your full-time job. You've got 1,800 subscribers. You got 200 monthly members. Like, what's 2025? What's on the goal for 2025?
The main things I'm focusing on are just continuing to build the boxes. And because the Waxel Club has grown so much and so quickly and more like easily, I want to focus on that one a lot to really get that one really big. And then also the membership. So just kind of growing all of those is like the main goal. Getting a space is another big goal for this year. Because I've quit my job, that was my goal from when I started my business 5 years ago. So it was always like, I'm just gonna quit my job. I'm gonna quit my job. And now that I've finally done it, I've kind of had to like reassess, okay, well now what? So for this year, I'm thinking just scaling the boxes, getting them bigger in the membership, and then getting a space is kind of what I have in mind for right now.
And when you think about scaling, what things do you think about are going to play a big part in scaling for you?
I think my email list. So that one, growing that with lead magnets and running ads to those lead magnets. And then I think paid ads for these boxes. And then I think also the workshop weeks. It was really interesting. The lettering part, people are usually kind of like, like we love the wax seals better. But this time they were like, this is awesome. We need more lettering. And I was like, this is weird. No one ever says that. But I want to play with the idea of not a whole workshop week, but maybe it's just a workshop day or maybe 2 days that's like part of like the launch to get in front of more people. So that's another thing that I wanna kinda experiment with.
Yeah, I agree. I'm doing the same thing kind of this year with Launch Your Box. Instead of doing subscription box week more than once, I'm just doing like a 1 day webinar that has part of subscription box week in it. But it's like the main thing that we do, the Post-it note challenge. I'm doing just a 1 day webinar with an invite into the membership. So I think you could kind of scale down the big workshop week into a smaller, if you wanted to do a weekend or one workshop, and use that to fill spots when you need it and not have to do a full week all the time. Although the full week for me has been an incredible source of launching. And I think that it's a lot of work, absolutely, but at no other time do I get 800 members, right? So it's worth it. And so I think you're finding that too. It's just really getting someone like to know, like, and trust you, to hang out with you, to understand what knowledge you have behind lettering and behind wax seals, and really learning from you in that capacity. And I think anytime that we can put ourselves out there and just do it consistently, it's going to make people fall in love with you, right? Like, it doesn't matter what your personality is. It doesn't matter what your age is. It doesn't matter what you look like. People just want connection, and a world that's so swipe heavy and so short video heavy, like swipe, swipe, swipe. I only watch 1 second of everything. Like, people are craving connection. And if we can give that to them in the online space, they're more likely to join our programs or buy our boxes. And we just have to keep putting ourselves out there. All right, Betsy, if I want to go do some wax seals with you, because I know I can do that. Lettering, I'm not so sure, but where can I find you?
It's B Goods, like the letter B and then goods dot lettering on all the social medias.
Okay, we'll add that to our show notes. And final advice for anybody thinking about doing the next thing, what would you tell them?
You just have to do it, and even when you don't feel ready and you're nervous or you don't know if it's gonna work out, you just have to try, and you can't give up until you give it a legitimate effort too. I felt that with my membership, been growing more slowly, and then my other 2, it's like, "Ah, I don't know if it's really a good idea," but then it's like, "Well, have I actually given it a full, like, all I can do effort?" And so, I think, yeah, don't just get started and then really give it a full effort.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, Betsy. Well, I'm going to mark you down on my calendar to interview in another 2 years. We're going to see where you're at then. Thank you for coming back and joining us on the Launch Your Box podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us on the Launch Your Box podcast. If you're looking to grow your audience, head over to launchyourbox.com and grab the 10 steps to help you start building your audience guide. It's packed with practical tips to help you connect your future subscribers. Until next time, keep launching and growing on your subscription box journey.